What's going on, everybody? My name is ZealetPrince. Welcome back to yet another reaction video. Today, we're finally getting into the new season of Stories of Sodor. Victor Transit started releasing these about a couple of weeks ago. By the time I'm starting to react to them, unfortunately, I've had a bunch of other little projects to work on, so I have not been able to get to starting my reaction to this series. So apologies for these episodes being a little late. By the time of this recording, actually, this episode that I'm reacting to today, Inconvenience, along with Concerned and Wish, have already been released by the time of recording of this video. So I'll be reacting to those three videos today, and by the end of the week that when I'm recording this, the next episode will be coming out. So I'll have probably 4 episodes fully recorded by then. I don't recall how many episodes there are going to be for this season, but I'm still going to enjoy this regardless. And there is another series I'm going to be getting to at some point soon. As soon as I get a bunch of these other reactions out of the way, I could start reacting to this other series that was recommended to me by a viewer. It is called the British Railway series by Simon A.C. Martin. That is another series I'll be getting to at some point soon. And it's part of the earlier days of YouTube. I asked this question a while ago if people knew any other older Thomas Fanmates content that was made during the early days of YouTube. And this was one of the shows that was recommended to me. So I'm going to be checking that out at another point soon. So stick around for that as well. But today, we're going to be starting with Stories of Sodor, Season 7, Inconvenience. In 3, 2, 1, boom. All right, truthfully, we're just going to go ahead and skip right past the intro, because we've seen this intro 1,000 times by now, so we're going to go straight to where it starts. I'm going to do the same thing for the rest of the episodes going forward, because we already know the new intro, what it looks like for the rest of the season going onward until something changes.
1968 was a turning point for Britain's railways, as it was the year steam power officially ended. The dieselization of the network had reached its peak, and any remaining faceless steamies had either been withdrawn, scrapped, or preserved. It really was a solemn moment, but one that had been a long time coming. And truth be told,
over a
we got
decade
over
in
it
the
fairly
making.
quickly. After all, this end of an era didn't really impact us, or so we thought. For whatever reason, that August, the government enacted the steam ban, which prohibited steamies from operating on the main lines of Britain. For an equally inexplicable reason, those fools hadn't thought to include an exception for non-faceless steamies. In places like Sodor, this was a disaster, as the majority of our fleet was confined to the sheds. So the bulk of the work fell on our diesel complement and those of us who had undergone conversion. We managed surprisingly.
Literally every engine on Sodor has a face, so how the hell did they mess up something like that?
Well, but I'd be lying if I said it wasn't exhausting. Plus my buffers. I don't think my generator can take much more of this.
Oh yeah, that's right, you went under the conversion.
Tired. We've had to put up with some bollocks over the years, but this takes the cake. Indeed. What really annoys me is none of the fools behind this blunder will face any consequences. Yeah, they'll probably get promoted. You know what's funny? When they announced the ban, my first thought was typical head office, as it sounds like something those tosspots would do. You know, I used to work at head office, don't you, Boko? I'm sure he realizes there are always exceptions to the rule, don't you, Boko? Right. Well, you'll be happy to know those exceptions have been battling it out with the Department of Transport to amend the ban so non-faceless steamies can go back to work. Unsuccessfully, I assume, sir. So far, yes, but like anything to do with government, these things take time. And while they're all gabbing, what are we supposed to do, sir? Keep running ourselves ragged? Hopefully not. The chaps at Crowens Gate have been working around the clock converting steamies.
Wow.
Reginald will be back in service by this afternoon, and I've arranged for a new diesel to join us. A new diesel, sir? Yes, he comes highly recommended. His safety record is a little spotty, but he's a solid performer. I believe you know him, Francis. I do, sir?
Who?
Well, if it isn't Fast Frankie. Oh, hello, Patrick. This ought to be good. How do you lads know each other? We crossed paths several times on the mainland.
Okay, I'm going to be honest, I know who Patrick is. If you guys don't recall, maybe a few years ago, Victor Tantic released a prank video, which was supposed to be a setup for a prolong video he intended to do, but it was a first draft video with Stepney. And regardless of whether or not it was a prank video or not, it still was pretty good. It's not canon, though, but Patrick was apparently at some point going to be canon. So this is his official introduction on Victor Tanzis' channel. If you haven't seen that other video, I suggest you go check it out. It was pretty good.
Frankie was always boasting about his speed records. One time he overdid it and stalled his engine, so I had to come to his rescue. Emphasis on the one time, and you've never let me forget it, because it's worth remembering. Not only did I have to shift you and your express, but I was pulling a goods train at the time. Blimey, you must have some strength. Not to boast, but there are a few trains I can't handle. In fact, I currently hold the record for the heaviest load moved by a single diesel. And you never fail to remind me of that, either. I wish you would refrain from such talk. Arrogance is a rather unbecoming trait. Are you seriously lecturing me about arrogance?
Yeah,
Talking
literally,
about popcorn
Francis,
the
you've
kettle
literally done
turns?
this throughout your whole introduction to the
All right,
series.
chaps, settle down. There's no need for hostility, especially since we'll be working together. You're right, I'm sorry. I know you lads like to keep things orderly around here, and I don't want to upset that. Good to hear. Welcome to Sodor. I'm Edward, this is Boko, James, and Henry. I know who all of you are. It's
You know, surprisingly, gotta pause one more time. Patrick isn't being a douche. Like I said, if you haven't watched that prank video, Patrick was very hostile towards everybody in that prank video. So it's interesting to see a completely turnaround of the character from when he comes fully introduced for this series.
a real thrill being
At least
here.
I hope he stays this way.
I can't wait to get started. Mr. Watson said my first train will be waiting for me at the harbour, and he told me to escort you there. As soon as my driver gets back from the loo, we can head off. So you've undergone conversion, as have several others. Do you mind if I ask, was it a difficult choice? I definitely gave it a lot of thought. I wondered if giving up such an important part of my identity was worth it. And was it? I would have to say yes. The benefits speak for themselves. Even so, I'll stick to being a steamy, thank you. Me too. And I won't try to convince you chaps otherwise. Here comes my driver. Are you ready to go, Patrick? Absolutely. And remember, Patrick, a red signal is not a suggestion. What's he talking about? Nothing. Lead the way.
That's gonna come back to bite him.
Patrick, allow me to introduce you to Reginald and Samantha. How do you do, Patrick? Hello, Patrick. Nice to meet you. Very nice to meet you, too. I hope you don't mind me saying that you're easily the prettiest engine I've ever seen. That's what my husband says. Husband? She means me. Bust my buffers. I'm sorry. I didn't mean... Don't panic, mate. I'm not offended. And I'm not the jealous type. Besides, I don't blame you. Her looks were one of the many reasons I married her. And I didn't say yes just because he makes me laugh. Well, many happy returns to the both of you. Hear, hear. Anyway, we should get down to business. Where will we find our train, Sam? Patrick's is over there. I'll get yours after I top up on water. Water? Are you a steamy? I didn't think you were allowed to work. We can around industrial areas. I'm the local shunter, and the others have been helping out just for something to do. What a bloomin' disgrace. Some of the steamies back on the mainland reckon they brought in the band to force them to undergo conversion. Well, it worked. That's the main reason I had it done. So if the ban hadn't happened, you would have remained a steamy? Probably, but I don't regret my decision. Needing only one type of fuel is just brilliant. Not to mention I feel so much stronger than I did before. But the thing that surprised me the most is how much lighter I am. I had no idea diesels had so many less parts than steamies. Yes, I had the same reaction. It's baffling that less components somehow makes an engine more powerful. It certainly is.
That doesn't always work, though. It doesn't always work. But in some cases, it does. Other devices, it won't work so well, but I see their points.
And here we go. I'll see you all later. Try not to run up with my wife while I'm gone. No promises, mate.
I didn't think Reginald was going to go through conversion. Red single. What are you looking at, Reginald? Oh, did he overshoot the red light? Yep.
That's never happened to you before, so why did it happen now? Because I'm so much lighter, there's less weight on my wheels, meaning I now have less grip. If I had applied my brakes sooner, it would have been all right. Did you have that problem, Edward? Not that I noticed, but I've never gone as fast as you. Looks like I'll have to be more careful in future. Ugh, this is so embarrassing. Don't get yourself into a tizzy, mate. It happens to the best of us. And to you, shut up. All right, what's this about?
This? Yeah, what is this about?
If you must know, I've gone past a few red signals in my time. A few? Try 6. 6? Why so many? Half of those were my fault. I didn't brake soon enough. The other half were a technicality. How do you technically go past a red signal? Have you ever heard of a brake tender? Yes, but we've never seen them before. Well, you're about to. We'll be receiving a dozen of them tomorrow. Is this because of me, sir? No, the timing was just coincidental. And if it helps, you're not the only converted steamy that's had this issue. There have been others across the country. So head office is deploying the tenders in a bid to reduce the number of incidents. They've also issued a directive that all diesels handling unfitted goods trains will use them. Oh, joy. What's wrong with that? It sounds like a good idea. Agreed. And I've always wondered what it would be like pulling 2 tenders.
Oh, okay, that's what it is. That answers my question.
Head south to find out. What do you mean? Before continuing, I may need to provide some background.
Yeah, what is this?
Throughout dieselization, it was observed the lighter frame and smaller wheels of these locomotives meant their braking power was rather weak. So they built special carriages called brake tenders to compensate for this. Equipped with air brakes and filled with either cement or scrap metal, they worked as intended, but there was a catch. As Patrick revealed, they were pulled in the south of the country, whereas in the north, they were pushed. Why that is, I have no idea.
Okay, yeah, that's
since
weird.
Sodor was located in the northwest, well, we soon found ourselves sandwiched between these tenders and an entire train, which was very awkward.
So this is the inconvenience. Okay, that makes more sense now.
That wasn't the worst part. We soon found out what the Class 40 meant by technically going past a red signal. Sometimes we would be stopped at the light, only to realize the tender had gone beyond it. I'm sorry to say, more than a few of us were caught out by this. Frank's going to have a field day when he hears about this. Yeah, it happened to me this morning. Now I'm ticked off. You think Rob would consider turning me into a steamy? Maybe then I won't have to use these things. If that's possible, welcome aboard. We could use another steamy. To sit in the shed? No, to join us when we go back to work. Have they lifted the ban?
That was
no,
quick.
But some of us have started wondering what the penalty is for breaking it. If all of a sudden we start taking trains again, what's the worst they can do? I doubt they'll send us to Railgate. That's a good point. It might be worth considering. I'm surprised to hear you say that, Edward.
Yeah, true.
I remember how you tried to talk us out of striking back in the day. Because I didn't think you would accomplish anything. I was wrong. And like you said, James, what's the worst they can... Whew. Are you alright, Edward?
Yeah, what's up?
No, not really. I'm feeling a little underpowered. I think I overstressed my generator during my last run. Are you going to be able to take your next train? No, I don't think so. Then give me the job. You've already got your own train to take, so couple Edward's trucks onto mine. I'll kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Or yourself, a train that size will have nearly 40 wagons. Bah, child's play. I'll manage. Edward? I'm not up to the task. If he's certain he is, why not let him try? Thank you, Patrick. No worries. This'll be great. I've been itching to tackle a real goods train.
I don't know if this is going to go well. But no, I've never heard of these before. Maybe because I'm more too invested into the earlier esteemed days of British railways, or rather just the railway network of Britain during its early days through steam. As for the diesel side of it, I don't really know, honestly, too much about it. Just the dieselization part of it. Not the extent of what was used, what was made, the classes. That's really it. Just that little bit of details, and all this other stuff I have no idea about. Also, why do the British steam engines always look so pretty? Why? Yeah, you're definitely stuck, bro. Too much weight.
Oh, bother. I told you it was too much. Rubbish. I didn't have a problem shifting Frank, and that was a much heavier load. It probably helped that we were going downhill at the time. I guess I'll have to move back downhill and call for a... Is that a...
What the?
Oi, who's back there?
Yeah, who is back there?
Hey, what's going on? I guess they're trying to help, so kick your motor into gear. Right.
Gordon? Gordon, Henry, Reginald. Trying to think of the biggest steam engines that are currently on the island. I think that's it. I think that's it. I could be wrong, though. It's been a long time. Yeah, who is it? They didn't whistle back.
It didn't whistle back? Not a peep, and it gets stranger. I couldn't see what it was, but I thought my guard would. When we finished our run, I asked him who had been pushing us, and he didn't know. What do you mean he didn't know? He said he looked directly at it. He knows he did, but can't remember a thing about it. Now that is strange.
Wait a
But you're
minute.
certain it was a steam engine? Definitely, sir. A big one, too. That rules out anyone in the Brendan branch. As impractical as it may be, I have to ask, was it any of you? No, sir. James and I have been at the harbour with Samantha, and me and Henry have been here. Very strange. When I first heard about this, I thought maybe you had begun your revolution. You know about that? It seems we still haven't learned how to act stealthy.
Yeah.
We were just speculating, Mr. Watson. We have no intention of breaking any rules. Well, truth be told, I wouldn't have been upset if you had. Really, sir? Yes, this entire affair has been a damn inconvenience, and like you said, what's the worst they could do? Thankfully, a mutiny won't be required. I received word they finally amended the ban to include an exemption for non-faceless steamies, so you will all be going back to work tomorrow. Oh, hurrah! Indeed, I can't wait to stretch my wheels.
That's
Then
good
you'll
news.
Be happy to hear, Gordon, that I'm putting you on the express. James, Henry, and Emily, you're on fast goods. And Patrick, if I were to give you heavy freight, will you stick to taking only your trains? Yes, sir. I'm sorry about today. It won't happen again. Stalling on the hill or compromising a signal block. Francis, you will be handling fuel trains. Of
Walked
course.
himself into
It
that
should go
one.
without saying that every non-faceless steamie in the country was delighted to be going back to work. As an aside, the steam ban would remain in effect until 1971 before being overturned. When it was, dozens of new rail tours were created, many of which are still going to this day. As for the brake tenders, they would stick around for several more years. But we were given the option to pull them, which was much more comfortable. Everyone welcomed this change, especially Patrick. The Class 40 became an invaluable member of Sodor's mainline fleet. There were few trains he couldn't pull, but he never repeated his mistake on the hill. As for the mysterious banker that helped him, well, that is a story for another day.
I think I may already have a theory. We know it's a steam engine. And I'm pretty sure off the top of my head, the only steam engines that are currently on Sodor that could have had that kind of power, at least the ones that are alive, is Henry, Gordon, and Reginald, which are the only three heavy goods engines of that kind of power I can think of off the top of my head. However, there is also another possibility. What if Arthur's ghost has returned? Because Arthur died on the hill in the very first season of the show that we were ever introduced to, and is also the very first episode from Victor Tanzik I ever watched. It would not surprise me if that was the direction of this going forward. Another reason why I say it could be Arthur is because of another video that came out long before Victor Tanzik started making stuff on YouTube. It's by Shunter Production. It was an old video called The Banker, where a engine who died on the hill, who was a banker, returned after the banker, Edward at the time, was retired from such services. And his spirit returned to help any engines that were coming up the hill. And he got stuck on it. That is the comparison I'm making here. So what if Arthur's ghost has returned in this situation? And hopefully, I'm not the only person thinking this. If you think it's Arthur as well, let me know in the comment section. And hopefully our theory ends up being correct by the end of this season. But with that being said, I did enjoy this episode. It was a much different take on Patrick's character than what we saw in that prank video. And after all, Victor Tanzik did also say that was a first draft. I'm also learning a little bit more about the British Rail Network, and there were some things that I didn't actually know about. Because like I said earlier, I only knew about the true steam part of the railway networks of Britain. As for the dieselization going on from the 60s to modern day, I don't really know that much. I should probably look into it in the future. Maybe I could find a video online and react to it. I don't know. But we'll see where we go from there. But this is an interesting, good start for this season, as it has the air of mystery and introduction of new characters right off the I can't say the word. Right off the hand, I guess. I don't know. I can't think of the proper word for this. So, I'm hoping the rest of the season is going to be like this going forward. But with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed my reaction to the first episode of Season 7 of Stories of Sodor. And I will see you all in the next one. Bye!